This is an amazing blitz of rallies from Donald Trump to finish his campaign 2020, isn't it?
It sure is. He's showing that he has as much stamina, if not more, than he had in 2016, which is pretty good for a 74-year-old. He's doing, I think, 14 rallies in the last 3 days. Today he's doing 4, so that means 5 for the next 2 days. And Joe Biden also has gotten himself out of the basement and is doing a lot more campaigning this weekend than he has at any other time. He also has Barack Obama with him today in Michigan. So I guess they're both trying to win over those last-minute voters, although it's interesting that more than 70 million, might be over 80 now, 80 million people have actually voted already, and there are estimates that there will be 100 million having voted by election day, which is basically 2/3 of the electorate.
That's a huge early vote, isn't it? And in terms of Joe Biden, you mentioned today in Flint and Detroit, Michigan, along with President Obama to introduce him, Miranda.
Yes, look, it's very last minute that they've wheeled out President Obama. He's done a couple of solo performances, and now he's with, his old vice president. And so I guess they think that particularly for black voters that will be a winner for them, because there are worrying signs for the Democrats that Trump has actually won over a lot of black voters and Hispanic voters. There are all sorts of polls with numbers right up to 25% of the black vote, which are probably, outside any margin of error you could imagine. But credible polls are saying that he may get as many as 15% of the black vote compared to the 8% he got in 2016. And of course, the Democrats need at least 85% of the black vote to win. So even if he only wins Donald Trump a couple of extra points, if they're in the right places, I'm told, they could make all the difference. Or if black voters just sit at home and don't come out and vote for Joe Biden, that also will cause him grief. And you see the battleground states now are tightening. And also the Hispanic vote, I didn't mention, is he's almost as big as Biden's. We're looking in incredible polls at 48%. So and I just hear that anecdotally. A lot of New York basically is run by Hispanic people who are doing all the work that no one else wants to do, and they're incredibly hardworking, and the city would close down without them. They're in the grocery stores and delivering all the food. And I've spoken to several who are quite proud about saying that they're going to vote for Donald Trump. They come from places like Honduras, one guy I talked to yesterday, which knows all about revolution, and as do other Latin American countries, and they're not interested in revolution again. And they say they're sick of the nonsense, all the riots and carry on from spoiled little white rich kids talking about Black Lives Matter, and they say, well, if this is the way if white people treat their own, how are they going to treat us?
And, of course, it's crunch time, Miranda. Some interesting detail. I'm always intrigued by this bit of detail, but just where the president will be, where the vice president will be on election night as they watch these numbers come in on one of the most important nights of their lives. Talk us through it.
Well, Donald Trump says that he'll split his time between the White House and his Trump International Hotel in Washington, D.C., where his daughter Ivanka is having a party. He did complain today out on the campaign trail that they, presumably Washington, D.C. authorities, Democrats, are trying to limit the numbers there at the hotel. And he also complained that that's what they did in Minnesota. Keith Ellison, the Democrat, very radical left attorney general there, made sure that about 25,000 people couldn't get in to see Donald Trump. So meanwhile, in Delaware, you've got Joe Biden will be with his family, presumably either at his home. He's just said he'll be in Delaware in his hometown. But it's interesting. There are also concerns from Republicans that on election day, when you're going to have a big turnout, most Republicans will be voting in person on the day, or not most, but I mean, that'll be a big Republican turnout. And they're concerned that Democrat authorities in Democrat areas will start closing down polling booths on the pretext of, wanting more social distancing, but that will only make the lines longer at other polling booths and maybe discourage people from standing out in the cold.